the suspect. We don't have a good description either, other than the fact that he's wearing a backpack. Again, refused to pull over and is believed to be armed with a handgun. Mark?
Yeah, the initial call that the information that we have is that he was initially blacked out and at a high rate of speed. I guess his lights were off, and he was traveling at a high rate of speed, which caught the suspicion of, I believe it was the LA County Sheriff's Department. They initiated the pursuit, and then, you know, things evolved or devolved from there. But the speeds, as you can tell, if that's accurate, 128, 130, which is certainly not implausible with a motorcycle, then this is really a hazardous thing. Luckily, it is on the freeways, all in a straight line, no cross traffic, but the speeds are very, very high, and one false move, one error could be fatal to this cyclist, and that's something everybody wants to avoid as well. You're saying there are no pursuing units on the ground at the moment?
That's right. Right now they are tracking the suspect from the air. We did see a night sun on him earlier on. I think he's going just a little bit too fast to really keep the light on him really accurately. But they did lose him right around Sunset Boulevard, where that overnight construction has been taking place each and every night. It's going to be going on all weekend long, and that has really caused bottleneck through the Sepulveda Pass in both directions. Northbound is where he got lost. They actually fell back right around Sunset, and then he started splitting lanes. He was splitting lanes, eventually jumped over to the shoulder, and he took the shoulder all the way up to the 101 freeway, where you can see traffic is much lighter, has been for the better part of the last 5 or 7 minutes as he makes his way southbound on the 101 freeway, now coming up on Glendale.
Yeah, the 134 eastbound now, heading into Glendale. The traffic right now on any of these freeways just about is going to be very light unless there's construction. It's 11 o'clock. It's 3 minutes after 11 on a Friday night in Southern California. So most of the freeways, excuse me, are going to be very, very lightly traveled, which I guess is good news in terms of the likelihood of an accident or a collision with another vehicle. It does make the ability to travel more easy, but it also means this pursuit may last a lot longer, depending on whether someone makes a fatal error here. He is really moving. So we'll have to see, you know, if there's something else that's involved here, what that would add suspicion to this, that would make them want to continue this pursuit.
Yeah, I mean, at these speeds, he's not going to get great mileage either. So he's on borrowed time, presumably. Again, we have no idea how much gas he started with in that tank, and I really don't know what kind of mileage that bike's going to get. But at these speeds, it's limited, let's suffice to say. So he's on borrowed time, but the effort here to catch up with him is not really, we're just not hearing them get into position anymore. I'm listening on the radio. They were talking about keeping a South LA unit in this direction in case they were able to bring this to a stop, to eventually bring him into custody and take him back down into the southern part of the county where this all started, where presumably there may be more charges stacked up down there that they witnessed and that they documented. In the meantime, though, it really has turned into a joyride with CHP just observing from above.
Well, it's interesting, too. You mentioned that they believe he has a handgun. I wonder how they would know that. If this is someone that's known to them, that they've been tracking, or for some other reason.
Right. That leads me to believe that there are other crimes, the likes of which we have really no idea. It would be pure speculation. But they have more intel than we do, and more that they are not letting on here. So just the mere fact that they are aware of a possible weapon on him does indicate that he is a known suspect, and also may contribute to their decision-making in terms of, you know, just catching up with him at his residence or at an associate's residence, wherever he ends up. If they could just track him from above, that might be the safer bet than putting too many lives in danger on a Friday night in the middle of the freeway here, unless they can get somebody right up behind him. But at these speeds, unless they get a chippy unit involved, you can run into the same problem. It's just really, really hard to keep up with a motorcycle doing $120, $130 on these freeways. It's always a dicey situation, and most of the times, under normal circumstances, they will often just quit it and let him go. It's just not worth the risk to the officers and to the public. But if there are more violent crimes that are associated, that could change the calculus, and that might be what we see here. Even if he slows down just a little bit, they may change their attitude and decide to get more units in position here. But they just might be, you know, having a busy night and don't have enough units to get over here. There's other municipalities that might get involved. I should correct myself. Actually, I said CHP was tracking. The sheriff's department actually has their helicopter up. So CHP is no longer involved in this chase. Right now, the LA County Sheriff's Department is the one with the helicopter keeping an eye on this suspect.
And we don't know what level of, how fast the Sheriff's Department units on the ground can go. CHP, they're accustomed to driving at high speeds. Theirs may be faster. I don't know if they've got superchargers or turbochargers in the CHP ground units that other agencies may not. But that may be reflective of the fact that there's nobody behind him at the moment. But you see him going across all the different lanes of traffic, that backpack there, and the possibility that he's armed. You see he's lit up. They are lighting him up with that night sun. The Sheriff's Department helicopter keeping up with him, but nobody on the ground so far behind him. What's ahead in terms of traffic, in terms of freeway choices? I guess the 210 is up ahead, right, once he gets to Pasadena?
And as I look off the nose here, there's really very. He's really got a lot of open freeway.
I apologize for the signal breakup. We're going to try to get this back and reestablish the signal with Chris Christie in Air 7. I think we've got him back. Chris, you were starting to tell us about what was ahead, and it doesn't sound like there's much ahead. He said the freeway's pretty much wide open ahead of him that he could see looking out the nose of the aircraft. And you see the speeds here that he's just flying down the 134, approaching the 210 now. He's heading into the Pasadena area, eastbound on the 134, and then he's going to have a choice of which direction he wants to go on the 210 freeway or whether he wants to keep going on the 134. This is something that is a pursuit that began on the 91 freeway in South LA. I believe it was westbound on the 91, got onto the northbound 110 to the 405 northbound through the Sepulveda Pass, and then southbound on the 101 freeway through Encino, Sherman Oaks, Studio City, and then getting onto the Glendale, into the Glendale area on the 134. Now he is at Fair Oaks on the eastbound 210 freeway still at a very high rate of speed. Again, this is a motorcyclist who was initially seen to have his lights off and traveling at a high rate of speed, and now there is a belief among the law enforcement agency that is tracking him that he has a handgun. We don't know if that's involved in a criminal act or whether he is in just possession of a handgun or if something has happened because of that. But that is their belief, and we don't know how they know that. He's driving this motorcycle at a high rate of speed. Did he brandish it? Did he in some way indicate that he has it? We don't know. There's a lot we don't know about this. We've got a guy on a motorcycle, or a person on a motorcycle, with a backpack that looks to be pretty heavily stuffed. It's pretty big backpack. Chris, what can you tell us about what we're looking at right now?
Yeah, so the further east we get here, the lighter traffic gets, Mark. So there is some volume on the freeway, but it's very light. He has plenty of room to play with. But considering there are cars ahead of him, you're going to see a lot of weaving. And at these speeds, that weaving in and of itself could play a real danger here. One wrong move, as you know, a wrong twist of that wrist, and he is going to go flying, and not in a good way. So at these speeds, again, he's holding steady now at 120 miles per hour eastbound on the 210 freeway, just passing Madre and continuing to just book it straight through into the San Gabriel Valley here. The LA County Sheriff's Department has the night sun on him there with the helicopter, and I understand that California Highway Patrol may have a fixed wing airplane on the way over here as well. So just that knowledge alone leads you to believe that they are determined to catch up with this suspect and bring him into custody. Again, they're committed to this for reasons that we are just unaware. If it was just speeding, you wouldn't expect to see those kinds of resources dedicated to a pursuit like this. They would just track him or eventually just let him go. But considering that they are sending more units over here, it does make you wonder. Now, when they get here, they're going to face a problem that we are facing just in the next couple of miles, and that is a pretty thick marine layer, cloud layer, right off of our nose here in the next couple of miles. That'll definitely inhibit the fixed-wing aircraft, and most likely even the sheriff's helicopter may have to peel off as well. They are traveling much slower than we are. We may even lose him here with our camera as he continues to travel eastbound. But it looks like...
Did he get off where did he go?
Did he just get off there, Josh? He did get off the freeway. So off the freeway at Baldwin Avenue, and here he is coming out the north side. On the north side of the 210 freeway, now traveling northbound, turning around, and getting on to Foothill. Foothill Boulevard, now westbound Foothill Boulevard on surface streets. That is going to invite probably more resources by my estimation, whether it's Sheriff's Department or Sierra Madre, Pasadena Police likely monitoring this as well. They also have their own helicopter at their disposal, and it looks like now he's making a turn back towards the freeway. In fact, it looks like he's getting onto the entrance of the 210 freeway. So he's going to put him right back on the freeway. Only this time he's going westbound on the 210 freeway, and that basically negates everything I just said about the weather. He's now going back towards clearer skies, where that fixed-wing aircraft from CHP will have a much easier time taking this over from the Sheriff's Department, who is still overhead here. So we've got the Sheriff's Department following above. Occasionally you'll see that night sun, and now we just have to wonder how much more fuel he's got left in that bike, because at these speeds, we know that they just don't get great gas mileage. Mark.
All right, so now back westbound on the 210 freeway, heading back into the Pasadena area, back from whence he came. We've been watching this person traveling at this at triple-digit speeds pretty much for the entirety of this report since we've been following. Now it looks like he's getting off at Madre Street. This is Pasadena. He's got to traverse and get around this semi-truck here. Getting off
at Madre, and I think it's worth pointing out during the course of this pursuit, he's had a lot of opportunities to just quit it while he's ahead. I mean, with that, a lot of ground units down there, there are so many spots where he could have gotten off the freeway or now on surface streets, places where he could just hide out, either with the bike or just dump the bike altogether if he really wanted to hide and lose law enforcement. Looks like they're pointing on the south side of that hotel right there. That's going to be Foothill Boulevard. Once again, he's back on Foothill. He got off at the Madre Street exit, and it looks like they're still focused right there on this. He went into a parking garage. Oh. He pulled the classic parking garage trick, and now he's hiding out underneath this apartment building, Mark.
Okay, well, you kind of you said he's had all these opportunities to ditch the bike or get out on foot, and it appears that's what he may have done here. This is an apartment building, apartment complex on East Foothill Boulevard. We believe this is the Pasadena area. He got off at Madre Street, and he passed by this building and never came out the other side. So the belief is that he has gone into the parking area or somewhere in that structure. And if they really want this guy, they're going to have to surround this building. They're going to have to set up a perimeter very quickly. Can you tell what does it say, Bell? I can't really see.
Pushing there really quick, Josh. It's the Bell Pasadena, and it looks like an apartment building. By my estimation, it could be a hotel. I think it's an apartment building, though. Mm-hmm. Right here at the intersection of Foothill and Madre. He took that first chance he got to get off the freeway and is now hiding out in this building, in that parking structure, without any law enforcement in sight here. No attempt at even, well, there's a black and white, but you're going to need a lot more resources to pull in here and form any kind of a perimeter. They'll do a search in there. Obviously, this building most likely has security cameras inside that garage, and that may help them out here. But he's had a lot of time already inside that structure to hide out. So this could be a prolonged search if they don't get him right away.
All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to move on and cover other news of the day and of the evening. It's been a very busy Friday on Eyewitness News, and we will get back to you if there are any new developments. Thank you very much, Chris Christie, and we'll check back with you as needed here. Again, that pursuit of the motorcycle rider now coming to a pause, I guess you could call it, at this apartment complex in Pasadena. We will come back as needed. In the meantime, a frightening attack right here, caught on surveillance camera.
You got it. All right, we don't have any update yet. No update yet. Is that confirmed? I don't know if that's confirmed yet. Christina, do you have that? Is that confirmed? Definitely him. Yeah, that's right. A lot more units pulling into position here right outside this apartment building, the Bell Pasadena at Foothill Boulevard and Madre Street, where there is a word that the suspect may now be in custody inside of that parking structure. You can see officers now casually walking in there after one of those officers that pursued him into that garage apparently was able to track down that motorcyclist. We do not know the circumstances of the arrest, but of course we'll stay out here and see if we watch them pull him out. Guys, back to you. You got it.